And I'm going to actually give you an actual bond. If I go to cnbc.com, US 30-year, come on. The coupon rate on this bond is 4.25, and yield to maturity currently 4.115. So it calculates the value of bonds and current yield. I'll wait for you guys to work on it. Yeah. Anyone is the number? Something happened to this. Let me close it and reopen it. Okay. Anyone is the number for the bond value and the current yield? And you can very quickly calculate that if you are using the template or you're going to use the function that I gave you, either way. Any takers? Okay, let me do this myself. Now, what are my inputs? What's my coupon rate? 4.25. What's my yield to maturity? 4.115. Face value? 1,000. Coupon frequency? 2. Years to maturity? 30. Boom. Or using my favorite expression from one of my most favorite apocalyptic series, or sometimes they're called what? Something. Falling skies. Tick, tick, boom. The value of the bond is $1,023.14. Obviously, it is a premium bond. And since I was careful enough to think ahead of time, current yield is right there as well, 4.15388. That's it. So what if this bond was a 10% bond, a 10-year bond? I'm sorry, let's make it 2-year bond. 2-year quarterly bond. Let's do it that way. What would be the value of this bond? Everything else being same except its quarterly coupon payments and years to maturity is only 2 years. So what would be the value and current yield? Okay. So since I have my template, coupon frequency is 4 now, and years to maturity is 2. Done. And in the exams and stuff, this template will be available to you. You can use it. Okay. In fact, I encourage you to use it. This class is not about can you actually remember the name of an obscure function in Excel. What I'm more interested in is what do those numbers mean? Okay. Now, before we go into anything else, you need to, as you can see, coupon frequency affects the bond value. Years to maturity affects the bond value. But most importantly, let's find out. Since yesterday, uh, the yields have gone up by 0.025%. Okay, so yesterday it was, let's call it 409. Let's go back to 30 years. Yesterday the yields were at 409. So yesterday this bond was worth $1,027.51. Remember, for these kinds of bonds, face value and coupon rates are fixed for the life of the bond. They do not change. The only thing that changes is the market interest rate or yield to maturity, the rate at which I want to discount these cash flows. Yesterday it was worth 1,027.51. Today it's 23.14. It lost some value. And if I actually let me copy this amount and paste it right here as values, let me increase the interest rate. So the percentage change, oh, -1. Even though interest rates only increased by 2.5 basis points, a basis point is 1% of a percent. Okay, you lost almost 0.5% of your money. Okay, if you invested into this one, or per basis points, you're losing 0.17% of your investment. That sounds like a risky investment. What if this was for a 10-year bond? Let's go back to the original 4.09. I mean, that's not the 10-year yields, but pretend that was the original value. Let's go back up to, for the 10-year bond, assuming the same yield scenarios, you would have lost only 0.2% of your investment, which is about 8 basis points per basis point change in the yield. This immediately tells you a result. Everything else being the same, the longer is the maturity of a bond, the riskier it is. Okay? That's called the interest rate risk. Let's do the same thing for a 2-year bond. 4.09. Copy. You would have lost less than 0.05%, or only about two base two basis points per basis points yield increase. That was 17 for a 30-year bond. This is only 2. So in terms of interest rate risk, everything else being the same, the farther into maturity, the riskier is the bond. You could also do something with the coupon rates. Remember, coupon rates are set by the issuer at the issue time. If the issuer wants that to be 0, they can make it 0. In fact, we have a specific type of bond called zero coupon bond. It means, let's make this a 30-year zero coupon bond. And let's do 4.09 at the beginning. And the cash flow from this bond is very simple. I'm going to pay $296.82 right now. I'm going to twiddle my thumb for 30 years. And 30 years from now, government is going to give me $1,000. That's it. But, it's a deep discount bond. I'm paying only 30%, less than 30% of the face value. So let me copy that, paste it here as values. If the interest rates went up to 415, I'm going to lose about 0.73% of my investment, or per each basis point move in the yield to maturity, I'm going to lose about 29 basis points. So everything else being the same, the bonds with lower coupons are riskier. I have two 30-year bonds. The only difference is one of them has a zero coupon, the other has 5% coupon. Zero coupon bonds are riskier. That kind of makes sense. If the bonds are zero, you're getting your money back in exactly 30 years, right? If